Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, to another week of the Bitcoin 15. I am your host, Peder Beckstrand. Alongside me always, Peter Christensen. In this week's episode, we discuss not a lot, but we got really good conversation coming up on a central bank, and his idea of the future of money. It's a very scary time. But like we always start every show, please like, subscribe, comment, review, dislike. Heck, you could even dislike this channel if you really want to. Tell anybody out there about the Bitcoin 15, and we will keep producing great content for you guys to watch on your Sunday afternoons. I'll kick it over to you, Gonzo. I guess we talk about the price because it's gone down like 15%, and I think I said it wouldn't, but you said it would. These ebbs and flows. The price is something we could also just touch on here briefly. The 60 high down to 53 low, and we're kind of like right in between right now, kind of holding steady at 57.
Yeah, it's weird. We've talked in the past about what the price floor was. We thought that it was bold to say 20,000 or even 25,000 was the price floor. I suspect it's much higher now. We're pretty used to it being in the 50,000s right now, or 40s at worst. Because it wasn't too long ago, it was in the 40s. So where's the true price floor now? I mean, that's pure speculation. You and I don't have any solid metrics to prove that it has risen from that 25,000 we were declaring before. But we were making some bold predictions that weren't that bold last week. So I'm going to make some slightly more bold prediction here. I'm saying we will never, ever see Bitcoin under 40,000 ever again. How's that for bold predictions?
That's bold. I was gonna say 48, but 40.
Okay, you're always
bold.
more
Mine's
bold
bolder
than me. Yeah.
Mine's bolder.
You say 48, I say 40. I think we'll dip below. I'm someone not quite as bold as Anquan Bolden. Okay.
Yeah, 40, 48. Put that in the notes too. I'll write it down.
Yeah, okay. We'll put that in the description, our official declarations of what the new price floor is, and we'll see if we're both. I guess if you're right, I'm technically right too, but you'd just be more right. So kudos to you if that comes true. Anyhow, we don't want to just dwell on the price. Yeah. We don't want to dwell on the price. You guys do come to this show for actual headlines. We're kind of struggling this week to find new stories. A lot of the stories in the past have just been developing more about more institutional adoption. One story that we thought we'd probably just kind of dwell on, the one story of the week this week, was the Bank for International Settlements. I believe it's their chairman, the head. This tweet says it's from Swan Bitcoin. We'll put it in the description. He was giving a speech on something and talking about central bank digital currencies, which is a topic we've touched on very lightly in the past on this show. And I've warned about how those should not be considered cryptocurrencies. They should not be seen as a true alternative to Bitcoin. They'll just be a digital form of fiat. There'll be no stopping the governments to make as many of those as they want. In fact, it'll probably make it easier for them. But there's the other side of this topic that you and I wanted to have a discussion on this week, that we just kind of warn people against this. When I say warn against, it's not like you and I have the power to go out and stop these things from happening. They will happen if their governments and central banks decide to make them happen. I guess you could maybe say, if based on the way we vote, we could try to stop people who want to issue these digital currencies from coming to power. But let's just work under the assumption that they're inevitable, that they will happen. It's kind of makes the case for Bitcoin even more so, in my opinion. And here's why I'm going to say that is Bitcoin, the power of the Bitcoin network is the advanced cryptography of the blockchain, and the fact that it has all these nodes across the world, isn't controlled by one central government or central entity, a corporation or whatever. You have a private network and you can't be shut out of it because you upset the government that issues it or something like that. It will be an alternative to the government's central banking system in case you've upset the powers that be. Maybe you live in a country like China, we've talked about how they're experimenting with their digital yuan, and they have a social credit score system. If you're not aware of that, again, we're not a political show, but these are things you need to be aware of in the world. And if you upset the powers that be, the party over there in China, they can already freeze you out of certain things. So if all of your money is in their digital form, you wouldn't even they've banned cash. Like, then you couldn't pay your neighbor for a favor or something. You can't do anything. You would have no way to buy anything if they decide to freeze you out because you're in trouble. Maybe I'm not sure what you would have done in this scenario. I'm this picture I'm painting, but maybe it was an offensive tweet you issued or something, right? You spoke out against the government, and that's just kind of a scary thought. I've heard the phrase before on a podcast, expression that if cash weren't invented before, like if it didn't already exist, it would be illegal. Basically, because cash allows us to make transactions off the record. So even though we've talked about the dollar being debased, the dollar still holds value compared to most other currencies in the world yet, because we are the United States government. It's backed by the United States government. But so it still holds value, and there's still something to, cash would have value, especially for paying things places that don't take credit card, right? And if you want to make transactions off the record, maybe it's, I guess, to avoid taxes for certain reasons. So if they completely digitize the money supply and do effectively ban cash, and I'm sure that would take decades to fully do, but then that goes away. They'll know every time your dollar, there's a paper trail or a digital paper trail of every time you spend money. And to me, that's kind of a scary thought. I'd like you to respond to it, since I just spoke for like 10 minutes there. Sorry.
No, they only did 6, and it's completely fine. No, we share all the same fears. It's almost like Bitcoin, if it wasn't decentralized, it'd be exactly what they'd want, right? I mean, if it wasn't decentralized, so they could actually see what you're doing, because it has there's no government influence, and it's taken off. I was watching somebody describe money, and it was, for a lack of better term, it was, this is money and it goes out, right? This is money and it goes out. Well, Bitcoin is the opposite. Its value is everybody just putting money into it. And I was like, oh, that's a great way to look at like why Bitcoin has continued to grow in popularity and grow in value.
Could you expand on that? I didn't follow that. Could you expand on that? I didn't follow
the analysis was, like you said, money is only valuable, and it's given to us and by governments, and saying this has value. Now I'm going to give it to you.
It's going out because the circle was the central banks basically issuing it to everyone.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is it's almost like Bitcoin is the opposite, right? Where everybody's coming into this decentralized power.
Got it.
The central bank,
market, the market is the arrows pointing in. Basically, we're showing that it has value because we're all inputting into it. Got it. I understand now.
And my point was that central banks would love to be this middle person, right? They would love to replace Bitcoin or have something Bitcoin. It kind of reminds me of the Zuckerberg social network, where it's like, if you would invent Facebook, you would invent Facebook. Like, you're trying to reinvent Bitcoin, but what you're trying to do already exists in almost a perfect form, in your perfect form from a monetary standpoint. The one thing that you can't do is you can't control it. And it is scary, like you said, about this guy's plans, or what the central bank is trying to do. We want to be able to digitize everything, so we can track everything, so we know what's going on. And you already hit on China. but it's just like the parallel, they seem so similar, just that one doesn't have a central figure and one's trying to be that central figure. And from our view, the one that doesn't have a central figure will always be the dominant one, or the one that actually holds real value, and this other one that wants to control, he wants to say what the value is. It's something to be frank, I don't want any part of. And I think when you have people like Saylor, like when you have Jack, when you have Elon, when you have some of these bigger powers keep pumping money into Bitcoin, I'm like, at what point are these central banks just going to? What point are these larger banks, the larger organizations, just going to say we can't compete with this? Like how far are they going to take it? Because if what they're planning to do comes true, and there's this other thing called Bitcoin, or even these other cryptocurrencies, like what's the user adoption going to be? How much is going to flow through these new currencies that they're trying to create, these digital currencies? It's an interesting time to see, but it's almost like you're fighting the inevitable. Why not just join forces with the good? Why are you trying to be, the good and the bad at the same time? I know I'm just rambling now, but
Well,
we'll just be interesting to see what the next.
In terms of the adoption, I'm pretty sure it's going to be like forced on you. So already, you and I, whatever if we log on to our online banking, we log in on the internet, and our bank says we have X amount of dollars in our checking account, X amount in our savings account, right? And that's already digitized, but somewhere, in the case for me, it's Wells Fargo has that amount of dollars somewhere, so that if I wanted to withdraw it, I can, and I could get it all in physical dollars if I wanted to, right? In paper dollars. But I think what would happen is since Wells Fargo is a commercial bank that is FDIC insured, they participate in the central banking system of the United States, excuse me, and they probably participate in some other countries too. They, for all US dollars that they hold, the Federal Reserve could come to them and say, here, give us trade, all these paper dollars you hold, and we will issue you these digital dollars. And now your clients will be whatever it says in their account. They don't hold those paper dollars anymore. They hold the digital dollars. And most people won't think twice about that, because if they're just spending it on a credit card anyhow, and they never actually hold money anymore, they're not going to think twice about it. It's not going to make that big a difference to them. It's, excuse me, it's just, it would slowly phase out cash, and over time they would just slowly phase it out, I think is how they would go about doing it.
So I know some countries already do it, like cashless societies. Going back to Sweden, Sweden's already pushing for a cashless society. I don't know if they're going completely digital, where they had their own currency. I haven't read that. Well, digital currency, I should say, but I know that they're going all cards, and I think they stopped printing coins or kroners, and paper bills. But it's scary. It is scary to say that here's your new digital, and now we can track, because it has a digital footprint on where your money's been spent. Great. Yeah, like you said, like we already put it on our credit cards, like we don't think twice about it today, and there's tracking that way. But having someone freeze your assets because of something you've done or said, that's the scary part. And that's where hopefully you elect the right officials, and that becomes law, where they can't do that. But the way we're going on a United States journey here, we're not becoming the land of the free. We're kind of going the opposite way.
It does feel that
political.
Way.
We're not getting political.
We're not a political show. Yeah. So
yeah, it is scary. But hey, we're under 15. What do you think?
Yeah, this is kind of our third straight week where we've hand up, we self-admit that we're not bringing the best headlines here. We're kind of struggling just with things in our personal lives, work lives and stuff, it's limited, but also the headlines, just nothing's been grabbing our attention the way it seemed to come so easy the first few months of this show. But yeah, we just thought, hey, maybe we'll change it up and have a discussion on once, try to clear up maybe, for anyone out there that doesn't see what the big deal is about these central bank issued digital currencies, like, hey, we think this is the potential for basically, bad actors to gain control of this stuff. And
Yeah.
They seem to have good intentions. But really, we need an alternative. And in the past, alternative to government issued currencies was like gold. That's still an alternative, but Bitcoin does everything better than gold. And there's a lot of resources out there that'll explain that to you way more eloquently than I can. So yeah, let's wrap. Let's
have people also comment to see what their opinions are about the article that we'll post, and we'll see. But maybe this is the new form that we go. Like you said, a lot of the things that we discussed in the early couple months or a couple of weeks are still coming to fruition, like the Nigeria backtracking the ban, India kind of backtracking bans, Pakistan reinforcing government issued mining operations, Kentucky passing bills, Miami. So it's all the stuff like we were doing the speculation, and then we're kind of going through the trial. And now we're kind of coming to not to law, not for everything, but like it's coming to proof actual. So that's where the headlines really are. But we've kind of hit on all those, like you said, numerous times. So, but yeah, anybody want to make a comment on what their thoughts on the good, the bad, and I know I teased us a couple of times, but we will do a live one together, and we might even do something where we discuss a topic like this, but more on the realm of maybe other cryptocurrencies. Sell us on Ethereum, sell us on Doge. Is it Dogecoin? Dogecoin?
Okay.
We'll get Elon on for that one, and he can tell us why. But well, for some of these slower weeks from Bitcoin headline, we'll think of these quick 20-minute long videos where we just talk about one thing.
The Bitcoin 20. All right.
Thanks, 15ers. Have a good rest of your week. And we'll
see you next week.
Good night, Canada.
All right.